And Brent Hubbs, some breaking news here. I don't know if we've ever done this on the show with you, but New England has just announced that they have hired Jerod Mayo as their next head coach of the Patriots. Perfect timing, I guess, for you to chime in on this.
Well, what a great guy. What a fantastic human being Jerod Mayo is. And I am super excited for him and the opportunity that he is getting to be a head coach in the NFL. One of the smartest guys I've ever met, a guy who matured into a big-time leader during his time at Tennessee, a guy who showed up and went to work every day. His teammates loved him, but he's a business guy. He's serious business, right? I mean, if you're a teammate of his, you didn't want to let him down. He was going to be prepared to go to play and do everything that he needed to do, and he's obviously learned from a pretty good coach in New England and has waited his turn. He's been patient, even though he's had some other interviews. I think he's been patient about some jobs out there, and I can't imagine how excited he is this morning, and I'm elated to him. He was one of my favorite guys to have covered at Tennessee, and I've covered a lot of great people, but just getting to know him and dealing with him from the time he arrived on campus till he left, how much he matured during that time, excited for him, and obviously that succession plan was in place when you look at the way that contract was written, as a couple of NFL national writers pointed out yesterday. So this, I think, was Robert Kraft's plan, whenever Bill Belichick's day was done, and I think that's why Jerod Mayo had remained there, and happy for him and happy for the opportunity he's getting. I know, Ramon, you're a fan. He's a good dude, right?
He actually FaceTimed us last night, man. It was on the phone with us. We all stayed together. It was 5 of us: Jerod, myself, Inky, Rob, and Sinclair Cannon.
That's a motley crew right there.
Yeah, that's a motley crew, man. And he was just like, man, I got to let you guys know something. And he brought us into it. And, man, we probably stayed on the phone on FaceTime for like 40 minutes last night just talking to him, and the texts were back and forth and everything last night. Like, Sinclair woke up at like 4 o'clock this morning. Was like, man, I'm still excited. And we've all been sending stuff. We took took a shot for Mayo last night. Inky had water.
Okay.
Inky had water.
Okay.
But we all, you want to talk about a group of roommates, man, that we all had goals. And honestly, to see Jerod in this situation is beyond ecstatic for all of us.
Yeah, absolutely. And, that was, I don't want to digress this morning, but that collection of you guys as roommates and the relationship you guys have had and have continued to have. I've talked to Inky. I continue to talk to Inky, and you guys were life-changing for Inky after, the injury he had, and just excited for all you guys because I know how close you are.
It's safe to say, Brent, that I was probably not the only one as a kid who had a Casey Clausen jersey that turned into a Jerod Mayo jersey. So there are probably a lot of people listening to us this morning that can fit into that. Brent Hubbs of VolQuest, our guest this morning, as he is every Friday at 7:20. Brent, great stuff as always. Thank you.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Appreciate it, Brent.
There's Brent Hubbs with us this morning, and the breaking news, courtesy of Adam Schefter first. A new era in New England. The Patriots have hired Ramon Foster's old teammate Jerod Mayo as their next head coach. He will be formally introduced at a press conference next week. We'll get Ramon's reaction to his former teammate getting the job in New England coming up next. Show moving right along as we wrap up the first half of the show on RKW, brewed by 8th and Roast. The breaking news this morning, courtesy of Adam Schefter in New England. Former Tennessee linebacker Jerod Mayo, not former Tennessee Titans head coach. Mike Vrabel will be the head coach of the New England Patriots. Ramon Foster knows Jerod Mayo very well. Former teammates, former roommates in Knoxville. What's your initial reaction?
Excited. Still shocked that it actually happened. I thought Vrabel was going to throw I thought it was going to be the joker or the ace in the hole for that job, though, just honestly. Jerod's been talked about for the last couple of years as being the succession plan. But all in all, I thought it did get murky with the Vrabel conversation. But my feelings, excited, overly excited for my friend. Like, Brent Hubbs was correct in the last hour, in the last segment by saying, like, Jerod's always been about this. As a young guy, like, only decision I think it was flawed in his was he thought about transferring because he couldn't get number 7 initially. Okay? But kids and numbers in college, man, we all do crazy stuff. But he went to number 7, and from that time, he took off. when he tore his ACL, I never saw somebody work harder than what he did to get back. So much so, he was a top 10 pick after that. And to see him grow into this, we saw Mayo being this from day one. Rob Ayers last night is also another one of my roommates. He said this about Mayo, and this is somewhat true. He was like, dang. He's like, man, here we go chasing you again, Mayo. And it's just, if you knew him in college and were around him, his mindset has always been that. Not to say that he planned on being an NFL head coach, but it was more than just the space he was in. I had a conversation with my boys about that type of stuff. Like, on the road to success, like, you have to keep the main thing. And Jerod Mayo did. And for the most part, if you're that type of person, you have. But it's cool watching one of your friends, best friends, in my wedding, roommate, turn into this right here, man. Whatever happens from here, as far as him and his success at New England, you got to tip your hat to it. 37 years old, getting a head coaching job, African-American. Also, I think, if I'm not mistaken, the first one in Patriots history also.
Yeah.
In Boston. Some monumental stuff. And this ain't this isn't a concession for, hey, we're just giving it to you. No, he earned it. If you listen to him, he's a smart guy. We had him on, or we were talking about having him on for the UT coaching search. And from my understanding, there may have been some communication there. And he just said, no, I want to be an NFL head coach. And he chased those goals and got it, man. So I'm beyond excited for him. I always go back to now, what are we doing here in Nashville if Vrabel wasn't the actual plan in New England?
Well, and I wanted to go, too. This is the list he's joining in terms of the last 3 head coaches before him. Bill Parcells, Pete Carroll, Bill Belichick.
Yeah.
That's incredible to see that he is going to be added to that list. And what's the next step he can take with an organization that really has had one way for a long time. And, yeah, he'll probably take some things from Bill Belichick and some things he maybe used to run things in terms of that team. But I think it's refreshing. I think that there's going to be new ideas, like you said. He has a vision. I'm excited because I've heard about Mayo through you.
Yeah.
I'm excited for him. And as for Mike Vrabel, y'all, man, I'm now really like, I don't know what he's going to do. I don't know where he's going to land because there are some good jobs out there.
Yeah.
He's kind of, in my opinion, got to at least give it a chance. But I also can see the fact, like Diana Rossini said yesterday, maybe he takes a year off and does some TV and gets back in the pool. But I think if you're going to want to continue to be a head coach, you've got to go now.
Yeah.
I think the thing that's interesting about Mike Vrabel, Diana Rossini of The Athletic just tweeting this 2 minutes ago, the New England Patriots never reached out to a single person, including the hot names like Jim Harbaugh, Mike Vrabel, or even Ben Johnson, per sources. They made their decision less than a day after firing Bill Belichick with a plan in place. Based on the phone call Ramon Foster said with Brent Hubbs that he had last night, that lines up with the timeline that we know.
It does, and there's more behind it. I tried to do something. I'm not in the news breaking business, but we had a smaller conversation immediately after that happened in New England. And, of course, you got to go through the rigors of it, but I think with the way Mayo's been hired, they don't have to really interview anybody. And he just told me it may have been Tuesday. Yo, I'm good. And I didn't know what that meant. Of course, with Vrabel being let go soon after that, I didn't know what that meant. And we finally got that answer now.
So, sorry, here's the quick question I want to ask about this as it pertains to Vrabel. Mm-hmm. Yes or no? If Mike Vrabel is coaching next year, it's on a team that currently has a head coach as we talk right now. Because I think that's the case. I think the only teams that Mike Vrabel would go for that are currently open would be teams like the Dallas Cowboys or the Philadelphia Eagles, who have head coaches and are not expected to have openings. But is there a team out there right now with a head coach who sees Mike Vrabel sitting there and says, he's better than the guy we have now?
Is that Giants? No. Is that Philly?
Could be.
Philly?
Philly's the one that's interesting.
But then it's like with all the stuff that came from the players, and all the situations with Mike Vrabel here in Tennessee, and there was stuff about, we win here in Philadelphia. I don't know. I don't know if that's been muddied at all in terms of those players that came over there and the difference with the culture, so per se, is what everything is talked about with A.J. Brown and everything over there. I don't know if that would be a fit, but heck, it could be. I mean, he's that hard-nosed type of personality. He's that, like, you're gonna get what you're gonna get type of personality, and I think he could probably actually work over there. Could you just imagine? And maybe A.J. Brown, because he didn't want A.J. Brown to go. Maybe A.J. Brown would be like, you need to hire this guy.
Or Kevin Byard.
Yeah. You know what, Will? The more you say it, the more I would say maybe.
So, again, this was Buck Rising last night on A2ZSports.com. And, again, we'll tweet out the link to this article here in just a minute. Multiple sources close to Buck say that Vrabel have said not to rule out the idea of the coach taking some time off as opposed to jumping right into his next job. The last 2 years have been taxing on everyone in the Titans organization, including the ousted Vrabel. That is A2ZSports.com and 104.5 The Zone's Buck Rising reporting on that. And again, you can go to our Twitter at Ramon Kayla Will to read the full piece from Buck on that.